Building stories, breaking boundaries.
Madayaw Davao, good day, Philippines!
Welcome to the latest episode of Kasikbit, where we discuss pressing global issues and work towards finding solutions. I am Goneth Rose Igudmalin.
And today we will be diving into the topic of reducing inequalities. I am Christine Daniel Salazar, your host on air. So Gwen, how are you feeling today?
Personally, I feel mentally and physically tired as we celebrated PE Day earlier this morning with the hashtag Ateneong Magpesikat. Speaking of mentally and physically tired, we also have to consider different aspects that we experience on a daily basis, especially inequality. Inequality is a pervasive issue that affects all aspects of society, from access to education and healthcare to economic opportunities and political representation. The gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen, and marginalized communities are often left behind.
I agree with you, Gwen. Now, how can we work towards reducing these inequalities and creating a more equitable world for all? Joining us today is an expert in the field of social justice and equality. Let us all welcome Ms. Jessamil Aboon.
Thank you for having me in this podcast as a guest. It is such a privilege and a fulfilling experience to have. Let's start with the gender pay gap. According to a report by the Philippine Statistics Authority as of 2020, women in the Philippines earn an average 19% less than men. This gap is even more pronounced in certain industries, with women in the agriculture sector earning just 73% of what men earn. For the inequality towards indigenous groups, according to a report by the Philippine Statistics Authority as of 2020, the poverty rate among indigenous people was 61.4%, which is more than double the national poverty rate of 16.7%. This highlights the significant disparities that exist between IPs and non-IPs in terms of access to resources and opportunities. Next is age. According to a report by HelpAge International as of 2020, 43% of elderly Filipinos live below the poverty line, compared to 17% of the general population. Additionally, elderly Filipinos are more likely than younger Filipinos to experience social isolation and lack access to healthcare and other essential services. For inequality towards social status, according to our recent data, the gap between the rich and poor in the Philippines is widening at an alarming rate. The top 10% of earners now take home more than 40% of the country's income, while the bottom 50% only earn around 20%. To conclude, this highlights the significant disparities that exist in terms of gender, ethnicity, age, and social status in the Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you for the statistics that you gathered and shared to us, Ms. Jessamil Aboon. I am amazed that you can remember all of those numbers for this podcast. I commend the dedication.
After Ms. Jessamil tackled about the statistics of inequality happening in the Philippines, we have another guest who will provide her insights and experiences about inequality. She graduated as 2020-2021 magna cum laude in an elite school, presenting Ms. Gian Marie Manlupi.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for inviting me and for giving me an opportunity to share my own personal experience about this certain topic. So, as a recent graduate, I have witnessed firsthand the impact of income inequality on not only on my own opportunities, but also on the well-being of the society as a whole. The stark contrast between the wealthiest individuals and the least well off led to plenty of challenges that must be addressed through effective policy changes. My own experience for me has been really disheartening. Despite working hard and obtaining a college degree, I find myself still struggling to make ends meet. It often feels like no matter how much I put in and no matter how much I try, the economic system is not designed for people like me to succeed. The rising costs of living and limited employment opportunities have only worsened the situation. making it extremely difficult for me to achieve a financially stable life. It's frustrating to see other people and only few people get to see or get to benefit the economic growth while hardworking individuals like me continue to face these economic challenges. With that, inequality is a constant barrier, not just to one, but to many, especially with the society being its main priority source and ones being affected. Thank you so much.
Thank you for disclosing such information to us, Ms. Gia Marie. We didn't expect that this is something one would experience within the school's premises. With that, we are moving on to societal disparities that Mr. Toby will be discussing in this segment.
Good day, everyone. So today we're going to talk about societal disparities. But first, what is societal disparities? Societal disparities means that not everyone has the same access to things like money, education, and opportunities. It's about some people having more advantages than others. Fixing this is about making things fair so that everyone has a chance for a good life. In looking at societal differences in the Philippines, it's clear that this creates challenges for everyone to have equal opportunities. We really need to quick we really need quick policy changes to fix the gap between those who have more and those who have less. Even when we're working hard, it's tough to manage money because of high living costs and not many job options. It's not fair that only few people benefit from our country growing, while many of us facing problems. Making things more equal is super important for a fair, inclusive society in the Philippines.
That's correct. Reducing inequality is not only a moral necessity, it is also critical for our community's overall well being and stability. When there are vast gaps in income, access to education, and opportunity, it produces tension and stability, which can stymie societal growth.
Absolutely. And it's not just about income inequality, though that's just a big part of it. It is also about tackling systemic prejudice and bias, which perpetuate inequalities in opportunities and results for various groups of people. Welcome our guest, Mr. Alan Renet in sharing his thoughts about the aspects of Christian morality in this UNSDG.
So, hello everyone, and thank you for having me in this podcast. So, I'm very honored to be part of this. So, to start with your question, so inequality has always been a constant problem in the society, tackling more than any aspect it covers. Since then, inequality has become a hindrance in giving people equal chances. This UNSDG wants to adhere a world of universal respect for human rights and human dignity, the rule of law, justice, equality, and non-discrimination. In Christian morality, inequality is a more immoral action that can be caused by someone in vile acts, little or big. An act of inequality in every aspect is not a thing to be done. A human person is someone that embodies the quality of a person with dignity and respect with others. Morally speaking, it is undeniably not right to experience inequality, for it doesn't sit right in a moral way. Societal or economic inequality contributes to a person. This norm has become a thing for more moral insight to be discovered. Therefore, it is something that is relevant to the Christian moral.
Alright, Mr. Allen, since you stated Christian morals, I couldn't help but think about how the Bible addresses reducing inequality. As we all know, the Bible emphasizes the importance of justice, compassion, and maintaining equality among people, where we can see a gist of movements in breaking patriarchy. The relevance of the concept of reducing inequalities and biblical principles is to care for the poor and the needy and serving justice and fairness. Applying philosophical teachings, as human beings, we have the infinite responsibility to care for others regardless of their social standing.
In connection with morals and how our actions should be in order to help lessen the inequality in the society, the teachings of the Bible correlates with the idea that all of us should be equal in the eyes of others as we are in the eyes of God. Like the stories in the Bible, it only shows us one thing, which is compassion, faith, and unity with others. Likewise, the Lord tells us that we are in one as brothers and sisters in faith, thus keeping in mind that inequality is an act which is the opposite of it. We are all relational beings, which means we are in unison with others. We tend to seek for social life. With inequality, it becomes a laid-back force as one with others. According to Proverbs chapter 22 verse 2, rich and poor have this in common. The Lord is the maker of them all. This shows that we should see the fact that we are as one and not show others their flaws or make them experience the unexpected. Galatians chapter 3 verses 26 to 29 states that there is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. If you belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Like before, many of them experience inequality because of race, color, or hierarchy. But whatever you may be, we are equal in the eyes of the Creator. No one is above and should be above others. Numerous stories in the Bible show that we should never judge someone by his or her past, because we all have sinned and we are in need to take action of it. Thus, the proof of inequality should neither be done, but rather addressed for the better good of all.
The Bible calls us to challenge and transform social structures that contribute to inequality. As we explore the biblical view of justice, it's clear that this idea is an integral part of Christianity. In the Old Testament, prophets such as Micah, Isaiah, and Amos consistently spoke out against social injustices and mistreatment among the marginalized. Their teachings emphasize the importance of seeking God, seeking justice, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God. In the New Testament, the ministry of Jesus Christ exemplified a profound commitment to justice and compassion for the oppressed. His deeds and stories highlights the importance of lifting up those who are oppressed and opposing systematic inequality. For instance, in Matthew 25:35 to 40, Jesus teaches his disciples that whatever they do for the least of their brothers or sisters, they do unto him. This passage highlights the interconnectedness of justice, love, and service in the Christian faith. As believers, we are called to follow in the footsteps of God and actively work towards dismantling the structures that contribute to inequality. A source explains that biblical justice is not simply a theoretical concept, but rather a call to action. This call to action means actively advocating for and promoting equality in all aspects in society, including economics, politics, and social systems.
Now, as the UNSDG creates a timeline on how can we be able to showcase and show the answer to this issue, our acts are something that also should be done. As persons, we are in duty to respect others, whether we are different in race, gender, age, and level of life. We are in need to act for a future that is in line with the justice and equal society for everyone. Personally, I can be an instrument by instilling this goal to myself by allowing it to dig deeper and finding solutions, like strengthening laws, keeping in mind and why does it require to be done. Our responsibilities lies on the freedom to choose, our freedom to decide to take this path to righteousness or not, the freedom to do good and be good. Moreover, choose the right aspect in life by taking little steps and finding the true beauty of it. Our mere actions can be something that can contribute to the future. Let us remember that there would never be I in a team, but always with the help of others. We are responsible for the future, so why waste time on leading and being tongue-tied persons who fight for what is right? With its goal of a universal respect for human rights and human dignity, the rule of law, justice, equality, and non-discrimination, we can be more an active society.
As I have stated earlier, each person has the responsibility to take care of others, especially those who are vulnerable. This responsibility also entails a call to action for justice and fairness, where it is within our conscience to either advocate against or for it to promote a more just and equitable community.
I agree with you, Mr. Allen. I believe that change starts within ourselves. In order to create a better world, a better community, we have to alter our unpleasing behaviors that may affect the society. As a citizen, I stand with public awareness and community empowerment as one of the solutions to reducing inequality. By giving the right information and knowledge to everyone, the majority's insights will be widened enough to distinguish the wrongdoings in regards to inequality. Together, we should embrace cultural inclusivity and an environment full of peace and a healthy mindset for all.
Well, in fact, teen, as we progress in our society, we should also see the possible solutions to it, right? This UNSDG does not only allow people to experience a life free from injustice, but can also see how it can build a better future for everyone, a more progressive one to be exact. But to be implemented, it requires quite an extensive list. Let us see the current laws being implied. Are they being done correctly? In relation to this, we can see the Article 1 of our Constitution, where in fact it is stated there that enactment of measures that protect and enhance the right of all the people to human dignity, reduce social, economic, and political inequalities, and remove cultural inequalities by equitably diffusing wealth and political power for the common good. Like in this law, it ensures that people will be given equality. So today, it is still in line that others still experience this menace and inequality. The role of everyone is that we can make sure to provide support to these laws that abide for the better good of the people, not just in the country, but also around the globe. The law's cons, it can provide enough provision for the people on how they should act on it, though it may not seem plausible if we strengthen and develop it into laws that is for the people, in which everyone abides, we can foresee a world of equality. In our little steps, we can take further improvements for a better world.
I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to Mr. Alan Renetibog for allowing us to hear your thoughts and stated some solutions for this issue. Thank you.
Ultimately, reducing inequalities requires a collective effort from all levels of society. It's about creating a more inclusive and equitable world for everyone.
Before we end this podcast, does any of our guests have takeaways or additional statements for us to end?
Now, since none of the guests have any other additional statements, inequality becomes a huge problem, and it's not just about addressing the symptoms of inequality, but also understanding and dismantling the root causes of these disparities. This can involve advocating for policy changes, challenging stereotypes and biases, and amplifying the voices of those who have been marginalized.
Ultimately, reducing inequalities is not just a moral imperative, but also a necessary step for building a more peaceful and sustainable world. By creating environments where everyone has equal opportunities to thrive, we can unlock the full potential of individuals and communities and contribute to a more prosperous and harmonious society.
From tackling inequalities to addressing issues in the society, whether it's through grassroots, organizing advocacy work, or supporting local initiatives, there are many ways that individuals and communities can work towards reducing inequalities.
And of course, governments and international organizations also have a crucial role to play in addressing Goal 10. They can implement policies that promote social inclusion, ensure equal opportunities, and provide support for those who are most in need. This has been
Gwyneth Rose Goodmanin
and Christine Daniel Salazar. This is Kasikbit, a podcast with GWEN and TINE. Have a great day ahead and make good choices. Goodbye.